Political parties are said to be the backbone of any democracy. Yet, in Nigeria, they are often perceived as dominated by financial interests rather than ideas. Internal crises and weak institutional structures have left many parties unable to inspire trust or effectively serve as vehicles of democratic governance. Without reforms, these shortcomings will apparently continue to undermine both elections and governance. Tonight on Electoral Reform Half Hour, we turn the spotlight on Nigeria's political parties. What exactly is broken within their structures? How can internal democracy, transparency and accountability be strengthened so that political parties can truly reflect the will of the people? Thanks for joining us. I'm Eucharia Clinton and welcome to Electoral Reform Half Hour on NTA News 24, Abuja. This program is brought to you by the Peering Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa, PARCA, with support from the MacArthur Foundation. Of course, I'm standing in for Ezewanwan. Our guest tonight is Dr. Mustafa Umar Kumshe. He's a distinguished electrical and electronics engineer and a renewable energy expert, holding a PhD in security and strategic studies. Dr. Kumshe is a successful real estate developer, an entrepreneur with a passion for sustainable solutions, currently serving as Deputy National Chairman of the National Rescue Movement, NRM. He's also a two-time governorship candidate in Borno State and very much known for his blend of technical expertise, strategic insight, and unwavering commitment to public service. You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we'll just go straight into the conversation. You know, from your profile, you've contested for the seat of a governor for, twice. From those experiences, what lessons have you learned, about the election realities of Nigeria that people don't see?
Thank you. To be honest with you, elections in Nigeria are not just what you see on the ballot. Elections in Nigeria, there are so many hidden things that are not really clear to people. Things like the party structures, voter mobilization, and unfortunately, the unfortunate part is money aspect. Money plays a vital role in elections in Nigeria, unfortunately. And the ideologies of one is not even considered. We also have this religious ethnicity, aspect, the ethnicity aspect, which people are only after getting money, what you will give them. They don't even care what religion you're coming from, what ethnicity. They are after money. Money is the only language they understand. And without even having a recourse of what will happen after the elections, what they will be given at the moment is what they are after. And this, if not fixed, will also always have a continuous problem in the political cycle in the country. What people also don't seem to understand about elections in Nigeria is moments to elections. There are so many things that are vital. Negotiations, compromise, and coalition building. These are things that really has helped so many politicians and has emerged so many politicians over the years. And this, I will tell you for free, that Nigerians are yearning for change. They're very much yearning for change, and they are looking forward to the message and who the messenger is.
Now, earlier you mentioned a very important aspect, of the election. You talked about, of the political party, you talked about ideology.
Yes.
Many believe that political parties lack distinct ideologies. In your own perspective, in your view, what does ideology mean in the Nigerian context? And how can political parties uphold them?
Yeah. In the Nigerian context, ideology is not a theory from the textbook, no. Ideology is a set of principles. Principles that guide a particular political party on how to address a certain problem that comes to them. We in the NRM, we have our own ideology. We are consistent in our ideology. That is why you see us still flying, resonating everywhere, because we are consistent in our ideologies. Unfortunately, many political parties do not, even if they have the ideologies, but the politicians in the political parties don't adhere. They don't adhere to the political parties, and because of the lack of discipline in political parties, you see people misbehaving, and the fact that there is no measure kept in place to curtail that, in these instances in the political parties, you tend to see politicians, not having an ideology, in the party. But I'm glad to tell you this, that in NRM, we have this ideology, consistent ideology, that drives us. What drives the NRM, the National Rescue Movement, is the ideology over the period of time.
So you talked about NRM upholding its ideology.
Yes.
Now, you've also mentioned that some of these political parties, of course, they don't adhere to the ideology.
Yeah.
So how important is it for political parties' ideology to shape its policies and governance approach, rather than being reduced to just, election time slogan? Because quite a lot of them will come up with some slogan, we are here to bring this, we are here to transform the nation and all of that. But at the end of the day, we see it's something else. So how important is it?
Well, you see, it's very, very important for a political party, for any political party, to adhere to its ideology. If a political party, if all political parties can be like NRM, the National Rescue Movement, if you adhere to your own, ideologies, it will be very much easy for you to even sell your ideologies. It will be, it's landslide, for you to be, even tell people about your ideologies. It wouldn't be so difficult for you to sell out your ideologies to people. But once you have a particular ideology and you don't stick to it, you're only having that ideology because for having sake, then there will tend to be problems, in the party. But if all political parties, as I said earlier, will be like the National Rescue Movement.
Can you give us an example of this ideology? Because you keep saying ideology for the layman to understand, okay, what exactly he's talking about.
You see, in the National Rescue Movement, why people join, you'll notice people join the National Rescue Movement all the time. You've never heard, for once, somebody has come from the National Rescue Movement to any party, because they so much believe in the Rescue Nigeria project. National Rescue Movement is all about rescuing Nigeria from the quagmire, rescuing Nigeria from the shackles. So whoever that joins NRM, you notice people are, because the fact that they have this in the back of their minds, that they've joined this party for purposely to rescue Nigeria. So whatever that comes their ways, whatever destruction, whatever it is, they never take it into cognizance. They always focus on the ideology of the party.
So what concrete steps can be taken to ensure ideological consistency across leadership and, of course, the grassroots?
I think training and retraining of party members all across the board, from the local government, from the ward units, the state unit, to the national unit. If there is consistent training, because so many people are not aware, so many people are ignorant of all these things. But if there is consistent training and retraining of members of the party, I believe all these things will fall in place.
Training and retraining. Okay, are you saying that for now,
yes,
it is the training and retraining you just talked about is not in existence?
Well, it is in existence, but truth be told, the level at which the trainings are not going deep to the grassroots. We are talking about from the ward unit. What is the point if you train the national members, or let's say the national members of the party, or let's say the state members of the party, and you forget about the ward? It's still incomplete. If you train the ward and forget about the national, it's still incomplete. So you need to carry everybody along, every stakeholder is equally important in this training and retraining exercise.
Yes, talking about the retraining and retraining.
Yes.
Presently, you see a lot of cross-carpeting, just across board from different parties, cross-carpeting probably to the ruling party and all of that. Often without ideological justification. What do you think it drives the trend? Is it personal ambition, lack of discipline, or lack of the ideology we talked about earlier on?
Yeah. Well, truth be told, it's quite unfortunate that you see people, cross-carpeting, in other words, defecting from a political party that brought you into power. All of a sudden, you just switch lanes. This is basically because of personal interest. People tend to move from a greener to a fresher and more greener environment. Why? Because of their personal interest. They don't even consider those people they're representing. Everything is saddled around interest. Once their interest is being served, they just switch lanes, which is very much unfortunate. There should be discipline. Unfortunately, some political parties are also not helping matters. Why? Because if you notice, some political parties are not giving some politicians the sense of belonging in the party. Once you don't give any politician a sense of belonging, the person is having a high tendency of switching lanes, even if he's disciplined. Because once there is no sense of belonging in the party, they switch lanes. So if political parties will work on their discipline, work on their ideology, I assure you that this cross-carpeting and this defection, you see happening every now and then, will drastically remove.
So what does it mean for our democracy, really, this cross-carpeting? Because some have argued that, okay, it also helps in threatening democracy. So what is your view on
this cross-carpeting defection is not at all good to the democracy. It doesn't mean well to the democracy.
Why do you say so?
For example, someone contests in a particular platform. That particular platform did everything to that particular candidate. You emerged as a candidate, you emerged victorious in the elections, and you went to either the governorship or the presidential or the National Assembly. And all of a sudden, because of your personal interest, not because of what will benefit your party, but because of your personal interest, you decided to switch lanes. So imagine, at the end of the day, if everybody is going to switch from his political party to whichever party is moving to, usually the ruling party, of course, because of the mouth-watering things they give them, they move. So at the end of the day, you'll realize that there is no political party standing. Will be no political party standing, which is going to be a threat, a serious threat to our democracy.
Could it also be that that they are trying to go to a party that give them the opportunity to serve the people better? Because you mentioned that some political parties don't give the politicians the sense of belonging.
Well, by saying sense of belonging here, that doesn't mean the political party, and in a normal day, political party does not have anything. It cannot impact on what you get for your constituents. For example, if you're a senator or I was a rep member, your political party cannot impact or cannot change what you get from the national cake to your constituents, but rather because of your personal interest, what you get doesn't necessarily go down to to your constituents. It usually stops at the level of the politicians, of the office holders. So the interest is usually, most of the time, personal and selfish. Personal and selfish. They are only after self-aggrandizement. It's not about the constituents. It's about themselves.
Thank you very much. We'll go on a break now. Electoral Reform Half Hour continues shortly. Stay with us. glad to have you back. We are still speaking with Dr. Mustafa Umar Kamshe, Deputy National Chairman, National Rescue Movement, NRM. Now, having talked about, so much about the ideologies, now, what reform should be introduced into the Electoral Act or party constitutions to make internal elections credible and transparent?
Funding. Funding. You see, if political parties can get proper funding, all these things that the ruling parties are doing cannot hold. If political parties can be funded proper, all other candidates would run for elections. That's going to the ruling party will feel threatened, and they must do the needful. They will do, and they must do the needful. Why? Because they are going to be threatened by the oppositions. The oppositions are as well going to be strong. Now, one of the main things that kills opposition is lack of funding. You'll see people, candidates, good candidates, presentable candidates with good ideologies, with good blueprints that can deliver from the way they talk, from the way they speak, from the way they even walk. They will deliver. But unfortunately, the platform is not there for them. Why? They don't have the funding. And I remember I told you, elections in Nigeria
involves money.
Funding. It's about money.
So when you talk about funding, exactly are you talking? Where is the funding coming from right now? When you say funding, break it down.
Well, funding can come from anywhere.
In this case, what exactly are you talking about?
Yes, in this aspect, government can also can fund political parties.
You think
it's doable?
You think maybe the ruling party will fund another party to come and contest against it?
One thing about government is, the money is not just for the national reserve. It's not just for the ruling party. It's for Nigerians. So people in the oppositions too are also Nigerians. So if a Nigerian will be in a ruling party, do you know that if you are in the ruling party, you have so many benefits? The party does most of your campaigns. It shoulders so many of the campaigns, liabilities, unlike the oppositions. So are they not Nigerians? They are all equally Nigerians. So I think funding of the political parties will go a long way, and it will also keep the ruling party on their toes.
And do you think Nigerian, democracy is matured enough for this kind of, understanding that you, as a ruling party, the incumbent, can fund another party to contest against it?
What I don't understand, what do you mean by mature? When will we be mature? We were matured. Okay, what's the criteria? What's the bottom line? What's the yardstick you are using for us to be mature? What's the bane? We are matured enough. Release the money, and you'll see the miracles.
Okay, so what lessons can we learn from from democracies of other clans? Talking about the Western world now, that you think if we replicate, we make ours stronger than it is?
You see, we've been Nigeria. If, like I just mentioned to you now, the training of members about the ideologies of the party, other countries, they don't joke with that. They don't joke with that. Very important, because they know by doing that they are breeding a breed of good and quality, office holders. But if the orientation is not there, the ideology is not there, it's going to be very difficult. And apart from that, you see, if Nigeria will copy from the Western world how they do their, their politics there, how the results have been transmitted, how transparent and credible elections are. Even if you have nothing, you can go out there once you have the people behind you, you have the mandate of people behind you, you'll go out there, campaign, and people would vote for you. And immediately you've been voted from the polling unit, results will be transmitted to the coalition center, and results will be announced. You are the winner. But we don't do that. You hear things like network glitches, that the network is bad from that process, and so many things will happen. But if we'll copy the system of the Western world, transparency, credible elections, sky is going to be our limit.
I know quite a lot of time, some politicians will tell you we need our own homegrown solution to our own problems, that copying from the other people, other clans will not really suit our own situation, because we have our own peculiar situation. However, there are other things I think we can also copy from them, just like you rightly mentioned, adhering to the party's ideologies. Now, still talking about reforms. If you could introduce one reform that would permanently strengthen Nigerian political parties, what would it be and why?
I still maintain the fact that what will strengthen political parties in this country, what is lagging behind, what is making political parties lag behind in this country, as we mentioned, is a few things. The lack of ideology, which they do have, but they don't take it serious. There is no discipline. People will be having the ideology, but it's not being enforced. Enforcement of the ideology. I so much love mentioning this word, the funding. The funding of the political parties will strengthen democracy, will strengthen the political parties. Look, just imagine if we have political parties, so many political parties, but only a few people can join the ruling party. Only a few privileged people. Even no matter how popular you are, no matter how much people love you, once you don't have the connect, once you don't have the connection to the ruling party, you cannot join the ruling party. Am I right? So if the oppositions have been empowered,
I don't know how right that is, because you can decide to be a member of the ruling party.
You can be a member, but can you be a candidate?
You start from being a member first.
No, I'm telling you this from experience. I know a lot of people that have this problem. They want to join the opposition, they want to join the ruling party. They are so much eager to join the ruling party, but they cannot join the ruling party. Why? Because you only have to have a godfather there before you join. But in the opposition, like in the NRM now, I think one of our candidates is, I think it's a taxi driver. He emerged as the candidate of a party in my state. He won the election. Why? Because he has people behind him. But you can't dare go to the ruling party and contest. How can even you do that? How can you even see the form? Our forms in the NRM are affordable. We have forms for everyone, for every Nigerian willing to join the ruling party is there. People with disability, you are welcome to this party, because the real party to rescue Nigeria is NRM.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kumshe. This is where we draw the curtain on this episode of Electoral Reform Half Hour, and we wish to especially thank Dr. Mustafa Umar Kumshe. Thank you for your time and your contribution on the program. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Electoral Reform Half Hour is brought to you by the Peering Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa, PARCA, with sponsorship from MacArthur Foundation. We are live every Saturday from 8:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. with a repeat broadcast every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. on same station. Thank you for watching. I'm Eucharia Clinton.